How's it going?
I'm well. How you doing, Nikki?
Hanging in, hanging in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
I saw your stand-up special back in June and I loved it. And then
Oh,
I
thank
rewatched it over the weekend. Uh,
thank you.
still
That's so
love
nice.
still love it, but it hits different.
Yeah, the which part, I wonder.
I think specifically back to the line of like humanity is a toxic, abusive husband and climate change is planet Earth recognizing her worth and filing for divorce.
Yeah,
So,
that'll do it. That'll sum it right on up. Yeah,
just to say, I really think we need comedy, especially a stand-up special like this now more than ever.
thank you. That's so nice. Thanks. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, comedy is an outlet, but this special in particular, I think it's really speaking truth to power of what's going on in the world, and even more so. So yeah.
Thanks. That's so nice. I don't know. I guess I feel like I write about what I think about the most and what I think. I wake up every day and I think about nature and um, by extension of that, the planet, and by extension of that, what humanity has done to the planet. So it's sad, but yeah, try to make it palatable for people, I guess.
How does it feel to go back to the energy of being on stage after being on television?
It's funny in Hacks, season 3, Deborah gets on stage and she starts doing jokes and she's not even really doing her jokes yet and people are laughing and she's just kind of like, what the hell, like, I can't get an honest read anymore. I think a lot of comedians experience that, but the truth is, like, that effect wears off after, I think, especially if your crowd is like smart, which mine is, because a lot of people come see me because they watch Hacks and the Hacks audience is very smart. I think that only lasts for a couple minutes up top, and then you got to have the jokes. So other than the fact that I mean, the fact that I can tour and sell tickets now, whereas before I was pretty much unknown. Um, that I would say that's probably the main difference. But other than that, I think people really, you know, I go up at little shows around LA all the time, and not everything's killing. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely have to. I have the same experience I always do, which is like I have some gold and some other unusable stuff that only I find funny.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I was like, I wonder, if the experience of the audience has changed since Hacks, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But what was it about this time in your life that made you want to explore a stand-up special? I'm wondering. 'Cause it's so personal.
yeah, yeah. I think it really just was like I was the hour was ready. Before I got cast on Hacks 2020, late 2020, and before that I was, you know, by that time I was 3 years out of college, and so I was building and writing material before I got cast on Hacks, but I definitely didn't have an hour. And so in between season 1 and 2, I'd go on tour. And um, I toured around America and Canada and London and just did like my whittling, figuring out, like, perfecting the jokes. And frankly, the ability to go on tour, like I said, is completely from being on the show. And so when you headline, you have to fill time. And so I just wrote to fill the time. And things changed over the years. But yeah, season 1 and 2, I went on tour, and then after season 3, the idea was to shoot it because it was ready, and I was ready. And there was a lot of stuff in that hour that I'd been doing for a long time, and I was really ready to move past it, I think.
And it is such a raw special. I mean, there's nothing that you don't talk about. You talk about having ADHD and being queer and climate change and veganism and toxic masculinity. But within that, there's also a natural beginning and an end. You talk about being the daughter of a working mother, and then you ended at your grandmother's funeral. And I was wondering, within touring it for a long time, how did you decide that overall arc and the self-reflections that you would include in that?
I tried to create connective tissue where it made sense, but I think I wanted a certain level of disjointed non sequitur to exist in the special, because I think that's how my mind works, because I have ADHD, and I really designed the hour with people like me in mind, like people whose attention needs to be really earned and really maintained. Um, that's why I think that's a big reason why I wanted to do lighting cues and have the settings change and look directly into the camera, because I think in trying to figure out how to translate the special from live to film, it felt like I had to create these like tactics to engage people. So you know, because people watch on their phone,
Yeah.
I wanted to like really keep the eyes up, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it it felt like the order of the set, you know, based on the stuff that I talk about. Some things felt like really self, you know, kind of obvious about like, okay, so I'm talking, this is kind of an introduction to me, and what you have to know about me is like how my brain works and why it works the way it does. Like, so after the monologue, you know, you get into like ADHD and drugs, because that's like why I'm like this. So I felt like from there it was like, this is how my mind works and this is the product of what my mind is doing. And then, you know, you get into like the stuff that I think about, and you have it framed in the birth and the death. um so yeah, god, what a fun, it was really fun to do that.
Well, as someone who's also a part of the neurodivergent community, it definitely kept my attention, and I zeroed right in on all of those wonderful musical transitions that you had. I thought it was great.
Thank you, that's so nice to hear from you, thank you.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the bit of meditating with ADHD.
I
And
know. It's
love that
crazy.
experience with like all the music transitions, and it was just perfect.
Thank you. That is so nice. Yeah, that's the best thing I can hear, really. You know, like I think I think, you know, the ADHD explanation from someone who really has like walked the path their entire life, like just whether that's like speaking to the medication of it all or speaking to the experience of like having that, you know, it I was happy to include that, and I'm even happier to hear that there are people who experience what I do who feel, you know, connected to it. So nice to hear.
And then you have all the different voices, the earth, the sun, and the moon.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I really enjoyed that part. The moon
Thank you.
in particular, with them,
Oh, thank
the red
you.
curtain and the lighting. It was genius.
Thank you. You know, I was looking at the moon the other night, and she was like so like the smallest sliver I've ever seen, like just the thinnest sliver. And I was realizing like I did one voice of the moon, and when I came up with that voice, it was full, and I was looking at it, and then I came up with the voice. But I'm realizing there are a lot of different characters based on the position of the moon and how full it is or not. And I was looking at the thin moon and thinking about like, who is she? You know, it's like there's so much there. That's, you know, maybe for the second one.
There is, I mean, when I was watching it, I was like, this part can almost be just a sketch. You can really like make it a sketch in and of itself.
That would be so fun.
You have such a specific cadence to your delivery too, which I really enjoy. Like there's a certain
Thanks.
like rhythm and syncopation. There's like a sense of seriousness too, obviously. And I was wondering, how did you develop that style of comedy? Has it always been like innately in you?
Yeah, I think the persona kind of, or the sort of like the version of myself up there is one that was aspirational at first.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is who I want to be. I want to be cool and confident, you know, and I was not at the time. Um, and I think as I started to get laughs and my jokes got to the point where they were really hitting, um, I started to become genuinely that confident. And with that confidence came the assuredness that I could take my time. And also, I'm influenced by like dry comedians, Stephen Wright, um, uh, Norm Macdonald, who takes a long fucking walk to get to the punchline.
Yeah.
Long walk. He's reveling in the walk more than the destination. You know, like you ever see him do those like Conan couch interviews, and he's telling a kind of one of these jokes that sounds old timey, and he's just completely fabricating like a middle portion just to create more attention. So I think my delivery is a product of a lot of different comedic influences. But I also think like there's something, there's something, I am also very influenced by like old films. And I think there is something to my delivery that feels kind of like an actress in an old movie. So
Like a
I
transatlantic accent.
yeah, a little bit, or just like kind of the intonation and also the um, enunciation, I think. But um, yeah, I've been doing it for a while. Yeah.
What kind of movies would you watch growing up?
My mom had me at 42, so I had an older mom, so we were watching a lot of Turner Classic Movies, just like all of that stuff. A lot of Cary Grant, Rosalind Russell, Grace Kelly, um, God, uh, you know, Hedy Lamarr, all of these old school, um, some black and white stuff, but yeah, just a million different uh, movies with a lot of, drama, a lot of comedy. Like I think just across the board, like we just would kind of have Turner Classics on all the time.
I identify it with that as well. I mean, when I was a kid, I was watching His Girl Friday.
Yeah, a classic. Yeah, I mean, literally that movie inspired the that movie is the sole um inspiration for the bit that I do in the special about the two girls, the old 1930s women on the phone.
Mhm.
When Rosalind is arguing with Cary Grant and she's got that pace. That's like where that comes from completely. So
Oh, I love that. And I did see a little bit of that in there. Yeah.
yeah,
This was a very strong debut. Of course, you've been doing this for years and years, but in terms of like having your televised special. So for you, like how do you even want to tackle your next special? Do you want to like pause, live a little, or like
yeah,
recalibrate?
definitely want to pause, live a little. I mean, I think I would love to do another special, but it would have to feel like a genuine contribution. Like I don't think I would do another one if I didn't feel that it was like better than Everything Must Go, which I mean, yeah, this is what I'm about to say is both self-deprecating and self-aggrandizing at the same time. Feels impossible potentially. Um, I don't know. I uh, the lucky thing is that acting has given me the space to take my time with stand up, and I'm always thinking of jokes. That's just kind of how I see the world. That's how I think. So, um, yeah, I would love to do another special, but I don't imagine it'll be like anytime soon.
Mhm. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you taking out the time today. I know you're busy filming Hack season 4, so
Thank you, Nikki. I appreciate the questions. They were really thoughtful. Thank you.
thank you. And I was wondering last before I let you go, what can fans expect? I know you can't spoil anything for us, but I think we need some comedy, some levity.
Yeah. Um, let's see. I think really amazing guest stars. Um, we have a guest star this season who is a living legend.
Ooh, that's high praise
Yeah.
considering. He's already on your show. So.
Hmm. We have another living legend.
Well, I'm sold then. I'm sold.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it again.
Thanks, Nikki.
Yeah,
Talk to you later.
later.